Here at Indie Wrestling Q&A, my name is Jason Hevel. I'd like to once again welcome my guest at the time is Steve Diaz. Last time we met was at RCW in Canton, Maryland. It's been a while since we talked, so let's talk about your wrestling career from then. What's some of your biggest accomplishments from the last time we met?
Well, it's funny that you brought up RCW because that was one of my greatest and most proudest projects, obviously. RCW was a brainchild of Derek Frazier, Ruckus, and myself. You can check the Wikipedia page if anybody would want to check it out. I'm one of the founders of said promotion, but just too many people, decided to put their input, and obviously we're not seeing RCW run any more shows, so we'll just leave it at that. Other than that, obviously the ACW promotion has taken off. Ironically enough, at the same time in 2009, ACW and RCW started. Got the phone call from, at the time, Chris Adonis. He was running the show and he signed me on, and ever since then he has prominently featured me in each one of the ACW shows, and it's all come to a head in this year, 2014, with me still ACW Light Heavyweight Champion for 640 days today. If I had to drill it down to just one response, I would definitely have to say my title reign here in ACW.
So let's talk about the title reign. The title reign, who did you win, and how was it becoming the ACW Cruiserweight Champion?
It's actually kind of funny because ACW runs many different venues in many different states. In fact, when I won the ACW Light Heavyweight Championship, it wasn't even in Maryland. We did some show over in Pennsylvania, very poorly hyped, and they say we probably only had a handful of people in attendance for said show. But that really didn't matter, because when you win a championship for the first time in promotion, it always sticks with you. When I beat Skull for that ACW Light Heavyweight Championship, it was definitely a proud moment in my life, because when it really comes down to it, when you're the champion, that is the main goal that everybody wants to strive for. It's why would you even be in the business if you didn't want to be the best? And when you're the champion, you are the best. When I beat Skull in what I thought was one of my better matches, he gave me a hell of a fight. Something that I look back to and I think to myself, not a lot of people saw it. But they see me now. 2014, we had a sellout crowd here tonight. They saw me do something that I love to do, and that's represent ACW. And there's no better way to do it representing the company than by being its champion.
During your title reign, who has been some of your most favorite talents you've defended your Cruiserweight title against?
That's a good question. And thanks to ACW, they provided me the opportunity to work with a lot of top-tier talent in the entire East Coast area. Just last year, I remember I defended my Light Heavyweight Championship against Black G's. Wow. I'm still surprised I'm here standing with you after that encounter. Shane Strickland, one of the best cruiserweights in all of professional wrestling. There's nothing that guy can't do. Robbie Marino, I had the pleasure of working him just a couple months ago here in ACW. I learned a lot from those guys. They tested me. They took me out of my comfort zone. Pat Anthony, ACW is very good in cultivating local talent, Maryland talent. And although I defended my championship against the likes of Black G's, Shane Strickland, and Robbie Marino, facing off against Pat Anthony for one, that was something nice. That was something special. I remember at the Liberty High School show that we did, Chaos in Carroll County, I defended my championship against him in his high school. That's a dream. That's something that these promotions, when they get behind you, they provide you with these opportunities. And to defend my title against Pat Anthony in one of my most favorite matches, in his high school, the high school he graduated from, you can't write a better story. So from all of the title defenses, one of my most favorite, and thanks again ACW for the opportunity, my champion versus championship match against Kindred at last year's King of Maryland tournament. See, Mike Raddick, he decided again to not put me in that tournament and somehow finangled a way for his own benefit to see a champion versus champion match, and something that I am very proud of. In fact, my match against Kindred was one of my favorite matches of last year. Hopefully sometime soon I may get a rematch, and that you have a double ACW heavyweight champion, ACW light heavyweight champion.
Mike Raddick put you in the King of Maryland tournament tonight after begging and begging for many chances. How does it feel to be in the actual King of Maryland tournament?
Ever since last year's tournament, I took to social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pleaded my case. You would think that ACW provided giving me all of these opportunities to work top-tier talent, to become a center focal point in its promotion. You would think that they would want to put somebody like me inside of the King of Maryland tournament. This year he finally did it, but now I'm starting to regret that decision. I mean, think about it. After a year of wanting to become a part of this tournament, one-on-one, he puts me in a three-way match versus THC. How's that fair? Okay? Still managed to do it. Still managed to beat them. Let's gloss over the fact that the winners came out and had a hand in it, because a win is a win. And I see that you've become a winner yourself, actually. Congratulations on that. So you can see that the influence of the winners is definitely spreading across the ACW landscape. And I mean, when it really comes down to it, Mike Raddick, he has some sort of problem with the Mexican, the Mexcellence of Mexicution, and the longest reigning ACW light heavyweight champion, 640 days I might add. For some reason he has some sort of problem with me. He didn't think I was going to beat THC, but I don't think anybody can beat Prodigy. It's still hurting.
Outside of ACW, where else has Diaz wrestled?
It's a good question. Not a lot of promotions in Maryland want Diaz on their team. Far be it for me to say anything about that, because it's their promotion. Let me shine in the promotion. I support promotions that support me. However, if you were to check out Facebook, social media, you could check out my wall if you wanted to. You can see that I heavily promote a promotion called CCW, Classic Championship Wrestling. It's top guy, Rob Noxious. He was gracious enough to let me come in and do a couple matches for his show. And that's a great promotion. They run out of Pennsylvania. And it's just a whole group of people up there. Just like here in ACW, right here in Maryland. It's a group of people that want to see wrestlers succeed. To see an entire group of people come together and work for a common good, a common goal. It's really inspiring. Coming up this month, actually, I have a booking up there, hopefully. It's always funny with those guys. They have a lot of local talent, and when the Maryland guys come up, they really like to lump us together, put us out there on our own, and they always like to call us the Maryland guys, the flippy guys. They do things a little bit different over there, same way we do things a little bit different down here. But I'll never discredit them. I'll never give them any negative criticism, because they allowed me the opportunity to perform for their promotion. And that's something that I wish a lot of people would maybe take to heart, because they're gracious enough to let you into their fold. And this is something that I just very recently figured out. You should show the common courtesy and respect to give them the, you know, pay back in return.
Just say, oh no, sir.
So a lot of people say to me that they see a lot of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan in me. Now, because of the talent, those guys are world-class athletes, obviously. I'm up there, not quite there yet. But they see a lot of them in me because, obviously, I've held the light heavyweight championship for 640 days, but also because I don't fit the prototypical superstar. I'm not tall, I'm not Diesel, at least not yet, and I don't fit the typical WWE image, which is fine. I'm close that. In fact, I take pride in knowing that I don't look like those guys. I take pride that I'm not 7 foot tall, jacked as hell, but blown, tired, just not athletic, really. You see the Royal Rumble? Batista didn't even do anything, and he was tired, just lethargic. On that same note, it's just, if the internet wrestling community, who's being obviously played by the WWE right now, Vince McMahon is a millionaire who could be a billionaire, he would put Daniel Bryan and CM Punk front row center. But instead, I think, going back to something that Eric Bischoff said years ago, controversy creates cash. The fact that we're talking about right now is fact alone. But then again, there's still a long time until WrestleMania, so who knows what happens. If anybody is in the wrestling business, they know. You should know. Everything changes.
Yes.
On a dime, at the last minute. So that's why, when it comes to making opinions about those kind of things, I can't get on my soapbox and say one thing or another, even though I just did. It's just the fact that right before you go out that curtain, you can have somebody whisper in your ear, this is happening now. Or, you're doing that now. It all comes with the business.
Coming to that statement where he said that he's not the average wrestler, he's not big, he's not heavy. I looked at NXT and another guy came out and said that Adrian Neville,
Yes.
which he's a heavyweight champion right now in NXT. He's not a super heavyweight. He's like Chris Wilde. He reminds me a lot of like Chris Wilde style, but he's a phenomenal athlete. So is Diaz. I just don't see why WWE doesn't give average size wrestlers main event status. I do agree on that note.
On that note, NXT, one of my favorite promotions of all time. It's incredible that NXT is born from the same, it's under the same umbrella as the people that are giving you WrestleMania. Going back to your previous question, if there's any promotion that I would want to work for, NXT. I don't even want to be called up to the main roster. I love the building, I love the crowds, I love the gimmicks. Adam Rose.
I could see an Adrian Neville and Steve Diaz match, or maybe a tag team. That'd be actually a good match.
I'm a huge fan.
I know I've asked you this before. If they made a movie about Steve Diaz, what actor could play you? What would the title be?
It's funny you asked that, and that's a good question, because a lot of people say I look a lot like Mark Wahlberg, and I'll take that. At least twice they've said that Mark Wahlberg looks like me, vice versa. So if they did have a movie about me, well, first it would obviously be a three-part epic trilogy, but Mark Wahlberg would be the star of the show.
And what would you name your trilogy?
It's a good question. I'm going to have to say, because of my love for a certain dance simulation game, Dance Dance Revolution, the Diaz Non-Stop Mega Mix. And that harkens back to the almost hour-and-a-half long tracks of individual J-pop, techno, high-energy songs. These are the songs that get me motivated, keep my cardio up. Something that I can guarantee you no other wrestler across any promotion could do. Try it, I dare you. Right here, right now, the mini boss Diaz, king of DDR. Just saying.
Okay. So where else can we find more information about Steve Diaz?
Glad you asked that. Good question. Social media, obviously. You don't even have to go through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just Google BM2KX. A lot of people always ask me, what does that mean? I leave it up to the individual. It's open to interpretation. Google BM2KX. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Twitter. You'll find me on Instagram. You'll find me on YouTube. I'm very proud of the content that I put online. A lot of people gloss over it, and that's fine, because I don't want everybody jumping on and latching on. I want people that really, truly appreciate the stuff that I do to do it with themselves. I'm not looking for fame or fortune when it comes to it. It certainly doesn't hurt, right?
Yes. So basically, this concludes the 3-part interview with Steve Diaz, Viva La Lucha, the mini boss.
Before we stop, I want to take time out to let everybody know that this guy right here, this is why I love professional wrestling. This guy right here, he comes to the shows, he helps out, he does these interviews, he helps promote the business. It's people like you and everybody across that does this kind of stuff that makes our job so much fun, and it really, really means a lot to me. All the work that you put into doing this. So thank you.
Yep. Includes the interview with Steve Diaz. Once again, mini boss, Viva La Lucha. You can buy his t-shirts at the ECW store.
$20.
Maybe you can buy also have a website maybe one of these days. Check me out on Facebook, Indie Wrestling QA, Facebook.com, Indie Wrestling Q&A. Look it up on YouTube. Twitter. I don't really post nothing on Twitter, but I read people's Twitter posts. Check out for more upcoming videos. Come out to ACW's Elderberg's Return, and where you'll see Jake the Snake Roberts, Lita, Tommy Dreamer, and Matt Hardy. 6-man tag, Jake the Snake, Bob Starr, and Pat Anthony versus the winners. Hopefully you see Diaz defend his Cruiserweight title and possibly win.
Possibly, I will win.
And look up for more upcoming videos from the indie wrestling fan, Jason Hebel. Thank you and goodbye.